Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy to have you guys here. In today's video we will be trying out 5 fragrances from French Avenue. Now I have 2 from one collection, 3 from a different collection, but I decided to just put all the 5 together. I will discuss each one, let's just say, in more of a detail, so this is more like an in-depth review, but to save a little bit of time I decided to include the Diwani collection in the same video with the fragrances from this collection. I'm not really sure how this collection is called. I have here Meringue. I hope this is how you pronounce it, Meringue. But you guys, one thing about me, if I try to spend too much time on, let's just say, one collection in particular, then it will take me ages to be able to go through all the fragrances, and I feel like I'm a little bit behind the kind of fragrances I wanted to discuss already here on my channel. Let's start, you guys. So these fragrances were kindly sent to me by the team from Dubai collection. This collection was sent to me many months ago. This collection was sent to me, let's just say, more or less, like, again, a few months ago. I'm not really good with time, but anyways, you guys, one thing I want to mention, I've tested these fragrances ever since I first smelled them up until now, and I have to say, in certain cases, I'm looking there because there I have all the fragrances, in certain cases I have actually noticed a difference in terms of the scent of the fragrance, like from how it smelled the first few times I've tried it versus how it smells now. So without making the intro any longer, you guys, let's start with the Diwani collection, and let's start with this fragrance. Let's start with Diwani Beirut. I will add a presentation for Diwani Beirut, and then I will tell you how this fragrance smells like. Here are the notes for the fragrance, and let me just spray this somewhere over there. So this fragrance, this is said to be an inspiration to Burberry hair. Look, I have to say, you guys, the first time, or let's just say not even the first few times I've actually tested the fragrance, the way it smelled then, it smelled very different than how it smells now, and this fragrance has morphed into a lactonic forward fragrance, but I will talk a little bit about this in a second. But when I first tried it out for the first few times, you guys, I even wrote in my notebook, like, nothing sweet about this fragrance, you know, like exclamation mark, nothing sweet about this fragrance. Now the sweetness has developed, so in case you already have this fragrance, perhaps let's just say you were a little bit disappointed because you've purchased it, it's not sweet at all, at least this was the case for me. Make sure to give it a little bit of time, give it a few months, and the sweetness will come out so much more. So you guys, this opens up with a breezy, airy, floral accord, something slightly refreshing and spicy in a way. You know the specific refreshing and spicy quality that you have from pink pepper and fragrances. I detect something similar here as well. I get a burst of pink pepper in the opening, you guys. I'm not really sure if it's listed or not, but I definitely smell something extremely similar to pink pepper. So the opening, you guys, first of all, it feels airy, it feels pretty fresh, but not blue, fresh in a very ozonic way almost. You have this extremely pronounced peppery, fresh, spicy kick in the opening that adds even more of a, let's just say, invigorating, refreshing quality to the fragrance in the opening. And I detect this very interesting, dry, molecular, woodsy type of accord. So I'd say this is a simplistic, straightforward, modern fragrance. But the way it smells in the opening is not how it will smell in the heart and in the dry down, you guys. And this is something very interesting I have to mention. So in the opening it feels in a way, you know, this very like hipster-esque type of fragrances, you know, very edgy, very modern, a little bit ambiguous, a little bit airy, a little bit musky, a little bit dry, woody, but that molecular type of dry woody accord. Yeah, I get something similar here as well, of course, with the pink pepper, with everything, but let's just say give this fragrance 10 minutes. If you spray this fragrance on your skin, give it 10 minutes, and the most beautiful yet gentle milky sandalwood will start to shine. Now, I got the milky sandalwood even the first few times I've tried that fragrance, like back I don't know how many months ago when I received the parcel from Dubai collection. And I remember then I got the creaminess. It definitely had this underlying milky creaminess about it, but it was not sweet, you guys. It was green, it was peppery, it was floral from the jasmine, a little bit musky or with something molecular and woody, but not sweet. But now, yeah, the more this fragrance sits, the creamier, milkier it gets, and I'm guessing it's from the sandalwood they used here. I'd say the milky accord feels somehow muted. It's not one of those overly emphasized gourmand leaning milky accords or like milky electronic accords. I'd say it feels quite gentle, quite muted, quite cleaned around the edges, if you can imagine what I mean by this. In the sense that it's not extremely sweet, it doesn't feel extremely thick, and you know, like a very robust condensed milk type of accord. It feels somehow cleaned around the edges. Perhaps it's because of the added powdery musk with the cleaned jasmine facet that contributes in a way to this cleaned around the edges sensation, though it does have sweetness. So as the fragrance develops, not only that, this beautiful milky sandalwood accord moves forward and starts to shine, and it changes a little bit the texture of the fragrance from feeling quite bright, quite spicy, quite vibrant, quite airy in a way, because definitely in the opening the fragrance felt extremely airy and breezy, not in the sense that it felt light, but in the sense that it didn't feel like a very round around the edges type of fragrance. Now it actually feels like a round around the edges type of fragrance, you know? Yeah, you lost that pink pepper touch, you've lost that slight green facet you had in the opening. The jasmine, let's just say, just moves a little bit in the background, along with the woody accord that again moved in the background. I still detected, they do still add gentle accent to this milky sandalwood, but I'd say it's the milky sandalwood that is the main, or let's just say the most dominant accord that I detect to my nose. So yeah, this is pretty much how the fragrance smells like, you guys. From the heart till the dry down, let's just say that the most significant change I noticed, the fragrance follows a, let me just put it here so it doesn't get in the frame. The fragrance follows a pretty linear direction from the heart to the dry down. It's just you lose a little bit of that milkiness, or let's just say of that milky texture of the fragrance, and the fragrance again goes a little bit more breezy, a little bit more musky, a little bit more airy. Yeah, I don't know why every time I smell this fragrance, to me it gives me like a very hipster-ish, your skin but better, modern fragrance, that type. I don't know if it really gives me This Is Her from Zadig & Voltaire. Again, I have smelled that Zadig & Voltaire's This Is Her, but I can say that I'm extremely familiar with the scent profile, you know, because since I do not own it, I cannot really compare them. But in a way, I've remembered that fragrance to smell a little bit different, I don't know why. And I've remembered that fragrance to be much more lactonic leaning and much more sweet as well. I remember that fragrance to be very sweet and milky, but sweet. As someone who loves sweet fragrances, I would say the sweetness level here, like at most a moderate sweetness. And I guess you guys, the fact that this is not overly sweet makes it feel quite sophisticated in a way, because you know, like, even though I love sweet fragrances, but sweet fragrances are not the most sophisticated fragrances in a way. Of course, it depends how the sweet accord is done, what it's paired with, blah blah, but like in general, when you think of a sophisticated fragrance, or at least when I think of a sophisticated fragrance, I don't think of the next gourmand fragrance or one of my favorites, I don't know, like edible fragrances, you know. But this feels chic, this feels modern, this feels put together, sophisticated, yes, very hipsterish. I don't know why it gives me this vibe, like a very hipstery type of fragrance. But yeah, look, I'd say this fragrance, I don't even know with what type of other fragrances to compare it, because I can say that I've tried a lot of fragrances that smell like this, but you know, all this thing like Sonic Flower from Room 1015, you know, that is a Your Skin But Better type of fragrance. This somehow, even though it doesn't truly smell like a Your Skin But Better type of fragrance, but it has the same hipster, modern, sophisticated, edgy, chic, put together energy about it. So yes, you guys, these were my thoughts about the fragrance. Now, performance wise, even though I haven't done like a full wear test, meaning that I haven't worn it out, but I can tell you that this fragrance on my skin, it lasts around, let's just say, from 4.5 to 5.5, sometimes 6 hours, but that's about it. Of course, on you it might last longer. It might last, let's just say, about the same time as it lasts on me. I don't know, but the performance is average, definitely. It's not the type of fragrance that fades away after 2 hours or 3 hours, but it's neither the type of fragrance that lasts, let's just say you apply it at 7 a.m. in the morning and then at 6 p.m. when you get back at home from work, you still get the fragrance. Maybe, not maybe, for sure you will still get traces of the scent in your hair, on your clothes, or on your scarf, on your jacket, wherever you decide to spray the fragrance. On your skin, not so much, at least on my skin. Now, seasons for this fragrance, I'd say an all year round type of fragrance. By how it smells, I could imagine this one in the summertime, I could imagine this one in springtime, even in winter now. But I do think you need to have a taste for this type of fragrances. But it's that type of grab and go, chic, sophisticated fragrance, you know, again, very modern and hipsterish. That's the vibe this fragrance embodies to me. So those are my thoughts about this fragrance. Let's move on to this one. Let's move on to Diwani. Sorry for the noise, you guys. Let's move on to Diwani Cairo. Again, let me show the presentation and then let's talk about the scent. So let's talk about Diwani Cairo. Let me see where to put it. I will just put it here. Okay, so this is a very interesting fragrance, you guys. This is a very interesting fragrance. It's one of the most, by the way, in the opening it's a little bit alcoholic, so do give it a few minutes until you smell it. But this is one of the most realistic interpretations of a dark forest berry accord. I will add here the berries I'm talking about because I don't know exactly the name for these ones in English, but I will add the pictures. I'd say I have tried fragrances with a forest berry accord, but usually, let's just say it was more raspberry leaning, a little bit of something cranberry, a little bit of something blueberry, I don't know. But this is the most realistic, dark, ripe and realistic forest berries. But these two in particular, if you have ever eaten them or smelled them, you know how they smell and taste. You have this accord here as well that's extremely realistic. Yeah, you guys, so this fragrance opens up with an explosion of this beautiful, dark, deep forest berry accord. The berries feel dark, they feel ripe and very full of flavor in a way, and also very realistic. So you have this beautiful fruity accord in the opening that feels quite dense, but in a way on top of this dark fruity accord, you have something that smells like powdered sugar. So you have this accord that feels extremely airy, however, at the same time it feels sugary and a little bit powdery. I'm guessing this is the cotton candy accord used here. I can, look, when I smell the fragrance, I can say in my mind, oh yes, this smells like cotton candy, but in a way, when I do smell this fragrance, I smell something powdery and sugary. You know what I mean? So I guess that is the cotton candy in a way. And then I start to detect the floral bouquet, you guys. It's very interesting what they did here. To me, this fragrance, like the floral bouquet, shares a lot of similarities to Fahama from Maison Asrar Golf Orchid. Golf Orchid. But it's just the floral bouquet because, by the way, this is an inspiration to Left Obishai from Kilian. But it's just the floral bouquet that shares some similarities, even though I see here you have a very pronounced neroli that adds a gentle greenness and something slightly more sharp and unapologetic, not sharp in an unpleasant way, sharp in a sense that the floral accord feels a little bit more, yeah, I guess unapologetic in a way, you know, it's not that abstract jasmine with something, you know, it's not that type of very airy, breezy floral accord. To me, it's a floral accord that feels present, quite rich, quite heavy without feeling heady in a way that it doesn't smell indolic, it doesn't smell old by any means, it just smells sweet. I smell here, I don't know, something from a jasmine accord with something from an orange blossom facet, because it's a little bit orangey. Something like a white floral accord with a gentle sharp green undertone. I'm guessing that's a neroli used here. It feels a little bit airy because of the powder sugar accord with the musk, with the florals, with everything. And also the fruity accord doesn't feel extremely dense. It feels dark, sweet, ripe for sure, but it's more of an airy style of fruity accord in a way. However, as this fragrance develops, it's interesting because it gets to a point, let's just say 10-15 minutes in, where you have this beautiful, rich, dense, caramelly, vanillic facet that comes to shine. And in a way, it almost feels like it rounds up the composition a bit. So from feeling a little bit airy and breezy and bright, for lack of a better word, it starts to feel a little bit more dense. So not only that it adds richness to the fragrance, but also contributes sweetness wise, you guys. This fragrance to me, this fragrance is only for the lovers of extremely sweet fragrances. If you love sweet fragrances, this is for you. If you don't love sweet fragrances, I'm not sure if you will enjoy this fragrance. And when I mean sweet, you guys, I mean, I will just give you some fragrances to be able to paint a picture. So Fahama from Golf Orchid, this level of sweetness I'm talking about. Also, Rave Now for Women. If you resonate with fragrances like Rave Now for Women, then this one could definitely be your cup of tea as well. I'd say this one. Bouquet of Euphoria. Yeah, Bouquet of Euphoria. But see, this is a little bit more creamy, a little bit more... Look, I don't want to say that they smell alike scent profile wise or like scent wise, because they don't, but what I do want to say is that this feels extremely girly, you guys. Extremely girly, fun, you know, extremely like... This is for the girly girls. This fragrance is definitely for the girly girls. If you resonate with the kind of fragrances I've showed you, also let me highlight quickly Yara by Latafa. Again, scent-wise, I can say that they smell alike simply because, first of all, this fragrance, Diwani Cairo, has a very pronounced dark, ripe forest berry fruity accord that adds from the beginning a completely different vibe to this fragrance. So this is dark, you guys, but dark because of the fruity accord. Yeah, like I've mentioned, very girly, very playful, very uplifting, but without smelling like quote-unquote extremely juvenile in a way. But this is for the girly girls out there. Like I've mentioned, if you love the kind of fragrances I've highlighted so far, this will be your cup of tea. But I would actually recommend you to start with a sample, start with a decant, simply because this is extremely sweet, you guys. Like the level of sweetness this fragrance has is next level. It's sweet because of the forest berry accord, it's sweet because of this powdery sugary accord, it's sweet because of the caramel and the vanilla facets. Then you have this very rich and present and diverse white floral bouquet. Some feel a little bit more airy, some feel a little bit more green and sharp. Though the floral accord doesn't overshine, let's just say, the other facets, it's just think something from the floral accord here, but less warm honeyed like from the honeysuckle. Just something like a gentle touch of something honeyed, but pair it with this type of fruity accord, you know what I mean? And with a little bit of vanilla and musk, and add a very airy, sugary, like a airy powdery sugary accord. And this is this fragrance, you guys. In a way, it takes a very likable DNA, but it adds its own twist. And the twist in discussion when it comes to this fragrance is the way the forest berry accord plays into the composition. But yeah, very inviting and playful, but in a very uplifting way without feeling juvenile. So performance of this fragrance, I'd say it's average. On my skin it lasts around 4.5 hours. Let's just say up until 5.5 hours. On clothes, again, it does less better, you guys. But then in general, the majority of fragrances do less better on clothes. But I would say this, of course, performance is extremely subjective. Test it for yourself. Let's move on to the last fragrance from the Diwani line, and then let me continue with the other fragrances. This is Diwani Rabat. I will show you the presentation and then let's talk about the scent. So for my taste, Diwani Rabat is the most masculine, quote-unquote, out of all these three. But it's so beautiful. Oh my god, you guys, I smelled this fragrance on my partner because he used to wear this fragrance. Not really now, because now it's winter where we live, and I think this is more of a summery fragrance. But when I smell it now, I think of him for some reason. Yeah, this is such an interesting fragrance. So look, even though, like, I will add here the note. By the way, to me, the notes breakdown and how it smells like, to me, it's a little bit different. I know it gets compared to a fragrance. I will add here the fragrance because I don't remember the name out of my mind. It's a fragrance from Tiziana Terenzi. But it's interesting, even though I haven't smelled that fragrance myself, but to me it shares a lot of similarities with Junoon Oud from Al Haramain. Yeah, this fragrance, you guys, opens up with the most realistic smell of grapefruit peel and pomelo. Like, if you have ever smelled pomelo, this is legit how this fragrance opens up, with the smell of pomelo and grapefruit peel. It's almost like you were to walk in a kitchen right as your significant other, let's just say, is peeling a grapefruit and has just peeled the pomelo, and as you walk in the kitchen you get that citrusy scent lingering in the air. It's not like you lean in and you smell a grapefruit peel or grapefruit pulp from up close, because you don't really get those very pronounced bitter qualities. This is why, in a way, it's a very airy, citrusy, molecular type of accord to me. Yeah, this is why in my mind it's almost like you smell them, like the citrus that lingers in the air, yeah, after you have just peeled them. So this, you guys, it feels very light, very bright, very airy, a little bit, the airiness feels a little bit ozonic, molecular type of airiness, is citrusy dominant, with something, think like a very abstract, powdery, musky facet, something again very dry and woodsy, but not that very rich and dark woody accord. It's just a very gentle, soft, but very dry at the same time type of woody accord that adds a little bit of depth to the fragrance. But I wouldn't call this fragrance a very dark fragrance. To me, this is light, this is bright, this is airy. This was created for the high heat. The hotter, the better to me. I feel like in very high heat, that citrusy part develops even better. And also, let me just mention something else. Test fragrances on your skin, because here on paper you get just a brief interpretation of the fragrance. You're not able to get the full experience from smelling a fragrance. Look, even though by the notes, let me get the opening part as well, even though judging it slowly based on the notes, I can say that it's a fragrance that's like your typical manly man type of fragrance. However, when I do smell this fragrance, I couldn't picture this fragrance on me, but this one on a woman who has, let's just say you're a woman and you enjoy the DNA of Junoon Oud, this is something you could enjoy as well. Or if you enjoy the DNA of Junoon Oud, and many people told me that is their inspiration of Vibrato from Sospiro, so I'm guessing Vibrato from Sospiro, this is a type of fragrance that you could share with your partner, you know, if you both have a taste for citrusy fragrances. In my case, since I don't, I only like to smell this one on my partner, but the way it smells on my partner, you guys, it's a very attractive fragrance, not because it's the most complicated or ambiguous or that you've never smelled anywhere, anywhere, but because of its simplicity. To me, the beauty of this fragrance is definitely in its simplicity. It's in the fact that it doesn't try to reinvent the wheel in a way. It just smells citrusy, light, bright, cleaned around the edges in a way, very polished type of fragrance. A little bit musky, a little bit floral, a little bit woody, a little bit green, with something from a pomelo. I don't know why I smell pomelo in this fragrance. It's that almost like a little bit of a nondescript, airy, something a little bit citrusy with something a little bit bitter, but very cleaned around the edges type of scent. Yeah, I'd say this is a very sporty, casual, day-to-day grab-and-go type of fragrance. It's not the type of fragrance that it's, again, very ambiguous. It's a straightforward, simplistic fragrance, but to my nose and for my liking, a straightforward, simplistic fragrance that was done very well. I've smelled the fragrance on my partner. I can tell you from a woman's perspective, I love how this smells on a man. He loved how this fragrance smells as well. He's very picky, even though he's not really passionate about fragrances, if I'm being very honest with you, but he's extremely picky with the type of fragrances he chooses to wear, and this is one of the fragrances he chose to wear, and I loved to smell it on him, you guys. Like, when he used to spray this fragrance before he went to work, like the scent that was lingering in the room, I was just like, you know, I was just like taking it all in. I love how this fragrance smells like, but again, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I have smelled it on him and I love how it smells on him, so you know, maybe I'm not as objective, let's just say. But I would say this, by the way, this is summertime and summertime only to me. Wearing it now in winter, I don't think it would do much justice, because yeah, this just feels very summery, very springtime, even more summer than spring for my taste. I do think you need the heat to fully appreciate this fragrance. I do think you need the heat for this fragrance, first of all, to be noticeable. These types of accords, let's just say citrusy accords with something musky and airy, like if you were to wear them in like very cold temperatures, like through winter, I don't think this fragrance could last those temperatures, but yeah, beautiful fragrance. Again, keep in mind I'm a little bit biased, but I think it would make a beautiful gift for any man, be it your brother, your partner. I wanted to say your father, but honestly, I don't think my father would wear something like this. No, I don't think he would. But, or who knows, maybe your father would. I don't know, you guys, but think of this fragrance as a casual, very easy to dress it up, dress it down type of fragrance, no-brainer type of fragrance for men for the summertime. This is it. So like I've mentioned, let's move on to the next collection. I don't know how this collection is called in all honesty, but I have here Sweet Paradise and Meringue. I hope this is how you pronounce the fragrance. Anyways, so let's start with Meringue. But I want to tell you something before. In case you are interested in hearing my thoughts on lashes, which is like small spoiler, not small spoiler, my favorite one from this collection, make sure to watch the dedicated review I have for lashes, because there not only I talk about how the fragrance opens up, how it develops, and I go really in depth there on the performance, everything like this, but I also compare it to Hail Pistachio from Paris Corner. So if you are curious how the two fragrances compare, watch that video. But let's start, like I've mentioned, with Meringue. I will add the presentation and then I will tell you how this fragrance smells like to me. This fragrance, this is an ambiguous fragrance, you guys. If I were to say this is the type of fragrance that you would find or that you would smell in a very high-end luxury store to me, or again in a very like exclusivist hotel, that type of vibe. This smells really refined, yeah, and quite ambiguous as well. And this is one of the fragrances and this is one of the fragrances where I've noticed a huge improvement, or let's just not even say improvement because it didn't smell bad, but I've noticed a huge change scent-wise. Let me get the opening part again because I had to take a little bit of a break. Yeah, guys, this is such an interesting fragrance. It's a little bit ambiguous in a sense. But this opens up. First of all, it opens up with a citrus accord. Slightly refreshing type of bergamot. It's a little bit crisp, it's a little bit refreshing, and I feel like this bergamot facet is accentuated even more by the pink pepper facet in the opening that adds this explosive spicy quality to the fragrance. So the opening feels very vibrant, very energizing, like full of dimension type of opening, you know. Definitely more masculine leaning to my nose. And green, I get something green here. Maybe it's green from the bergamot, but no, I get also something gentle, green and aromatic. I can't really pinpoint like what it is, but I do smell it. It's like you have this fusion between a bergamot accord that feels very crisp, sparkling, that feels very refreshing and crisp, with a pink pepper accord that feels again like extremely vibrant and spicy, low-key, a little bit refreshing as well, and something dark, green and aromatic, and a creamy, dry, suede, woody accord. Yeah, the opening, again, like I've mentioned, feels like it has a lot of dimension to it and a lot of vibrancy about it. And also, to my nose, it does lean a little bit more masculine, even though as the fragrance develops, I would say like the heart and the dry down, how it smells now, because how it smells now is not how it smelled when I first tried it out for the first few times. Actually, this had such a surprising development, I would say. Because let me tell you how it smells now as it develops, and then I will tell you how it used to smell. So how it smells now, like I've mentioned, you have the bergamot, that pink pepper in the opening with that beautiful suede accord. The suede accord in the opening doesn't feel extremely dense. It has somewhat an underlying creamy smoothness about it, but I'd say it's more dry and it's emphasized by a dry woody accord, even more, I would say. But then as this fragrance develops, you guys, that very pronounced bergamot facet fades away completely, the pink pepper tones down more and more until I would say again you kind of lose it completely. But what I was surprised to notice is how creamy this fragrance gets, you guys. Now look, I know this is a dessert, I'm not saying this smells like that dessert, but I'm saying that the creaminess was not here. So before I used to get somewhat of a creamy sandalwood when I used to smell this fragrance, but in a way the suede accord felt like it overpowered a little bit the other notes, let's just say from the heart till the dry down. And then you also had it aromatic green accent paired with the suede accord that feels quite minimalistic, again a very modern chic style of suede accord, nothing overly pungent or anything like this. But I did detect this almost like fumé woody smoky facet coming from the suede accord. So in a way the suede almost felt like a fumé suede accord. Of course with that dry bright woody accord, with that gentle green aromatic facet. But now you guys, it's almost like I'm smelling a completely different development. How it smells now, wow. Now it gets extremely creamy and dense, and the sandalwood leans borderline, again a little bit milky almost, but it feels extremely creamy. You have the suede in the background that adds a little bit of depth to the fragrance, along with that dry woody accord that again contributes to the, let's just say, to the complexity of the fragrance. It adds a little bit of dimension, so it doesn't feel like a singular, it doesn't feel, let's just say, like the milky sandalwood takes all the shine away. It feels like a fragrance with a lot of dimension, though it feels ambiguous, again modern and refined. You guys, this smells so refined. Again, I haven't smelled anything like this in my life. And I'm telling you, I am searching for that smoky facet that I used to detect. I don't detect it at all. And not only that I don't detect that smoky facet, but now I detect something sweet, like a pinch or two of something vanillic, that in the heart and in the dry down do actually add some sweetness to this fragrance. Again, I wouldn't go as far as saying that this is an extremely sweet fragrance, because it's not, but it does have sweetness, you guys. It does have sweetness. Wow. Wow, this is another case of a fragrance that I tried, I let it sit for a while, I tried again, it's like a bam, a completely different fragrance almost. Again, I do think, look, in the opening, I would only picture it on a man, it's too masculine for me. In the heart and in the dry down, I could picture it on me. I don't know if really I could picture it on me, because this fragrance feels quite out of my comfort zone, very different to the type of fragrances I usually gravitate towards. But I can tell you this is a signature worthy style of fragrance. Like, if you have a taste for fragrances that are perhaps a little bit more ambiguous, perhaps smell more unique, because look, this smells unique, at least to me. To me, it smells very unique, but it doesn't smell unique or so unique that it feels challenging. It just has that enough dose of something unique and refined about it to make it feel much more expensive than its price, and to give it this refined aura about it. This fragrance does feel extremely refined when I smell it. Sorry, again, I told you I have issues with my hair today, so I just have to arrange it again and again. And calming, it has this calming presence about it. And I still get something green and aromatic. Yeah, this is one of the very few fragrances that on paper smells just as good as it smells on the skin, honestly. Yeah. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Unisex, but if you're a woman, test it prior. And also if you're a man, test it prior. But see, when I first tried it, it felt more masculine than unisex. But now, because the sweetness has came out, that milky sandalwood with that slight vanilla-like sweetness has came out to shine. Let's just say I could picture this fragrance on a woman, even though the opening is still masculine to my nose. But the way this fragrance smells, this feels unique, refined, expansive, again, very ambiguous in a way. But the suede, the cord is highlighted in such a beautiful way, especially from the heart till the dry down, because in the opening the suede, the cord feels again a little bit fuzzy and a little bit dry, but it's paired with, I told you, the spicy facets, the citrusy, that green aromatic touch. But then in the heart and in the dry down, the suede, the cord, you guys, it's paired with a beautiful creamy, borderline milky leaning sandalwood accord, but not milky to the fullest extent, let's just say, and a little bit of vanilla. But you still, this doesn't go into the gourmand territory at all to me. This is not a gourmand fragrance for my taste. It's just the suede accord is balanced out by some sweet facets, but then you have that beautiful fuzzy dry suede accord with a little bit of a dry woody facet that again add a richness to that milky creamy sandalwood accord. Yeah, very interesting fragrance with that green aromatic touch. Don't forget, you guys, because I do detect it a lot, and it adds this very serious demeanor in a way about the fragrance. Yeah, I do like how this fragrance smells, like a lot. Again, not on me, for me it's too masculine, way out of my comfort zone, you guys. I don't know if I would yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was created for someone like me, but if you know yourself to love ambiguous fragrances, and if you're not afraid to rock a little bit of citrus, a little bit of a spicy, refreshing pink pepper, even though those will fade away, but you still have to get past the opening to be able to wear the fragrance, right? Right. So yeah, those were my thoughts about the fragrance. Let me move on to Sweet Paradise. Let me just quickly add the presentation, and then let me tell you how this fragrance smells like. Sweet Paradise. This is said to be an inspiration to Scarlet Poppy. I think from Jo Malone. I haven't smelled that fragrance, so I cannot really help you with the comparison, but I will tell you how this fragrance smells like to me. Guys, I've never in my life smelled a fragrance with a more realistic cereal accord. You guys, this in the opening. Do you know that situation when you, let's just say, you want to make yourself a bowl of oatmeal with some cereal, you know? And you put the oatmeal in almond milk, let's just say, and then you forget about it. You want to eat it, you want to let it, let's just say, for 5-6 minutes, but you forget about it, and you find it, let's just say, 40 minutes later, and the oatmeal is all expanded and mushy and fluffy and soft, but the texture, it feels extremely mushy in a way. This is how this fragrance smells like in the opening. Legit, you guys, like legit, like mushy, like a mushy, fluffy, soft oatmeal, all expanded in that almond milk accord. I can't say that it smells like tonic per se, but it does have something that makes me think of this experience, you know, when you try to let's just say put some oatmeal in a bowl with milk and you forget about it, and then the cereal gets all mushy and soft and expanded. This is how the fragrance smells like in the opening. So you guys, this is the most realistic cereal forward fragrance I have ever tried in my life, and I think it's a very fun accord in a way. It's an extremely fun accord. Yeah. And I say this is what shines the most in the opening, for my nose at least. And yeah, this is the main accord I detect in the opening, and this accord will linger, let's just say, up until the heart part, but from the heart part till the dry down, the fragrance changes a little bit the trajectory, but in the opening you have this accord that shines the most. But see, as this fragrance slowly but surely develops here on paper and on my skin as well, what happens, you guys, is you still detect this mushy, fluffy bowl of oatmeal, but in a way, from being the star of the show in the opening, it moves more in the background and it acts as a base to give some richness to the other accords, and it's almost like on top of this mushy bowl of oatmeal style of accord, I start to detect some gentle peony like whiffs. It's almost like you have thrown some peony petals on top of that mix. Something cherry like here, but not cherry like cherry jam, cherry compote, that tart, really pronounced cherry. It's almost like you have a makeup powder that's cherry scented to me. This is the type of cherry accord I detect here, so it's a very powdery cherry style with something a little bit almondy, with a powdery musk, and all in all, let's just say the fragrance from feeling very creamy in the opening, but a very particular, like creamy cereal. That's the best way I could describe it, like creamy cereal. And then in the heart, creamy cereal with all these powdery, nutty, floral accents. In the dry down, I'd say it goes a little bit more breezy, a little bit more airy, of course, with that gentle nutty facet from the almond, with the floral part from the peony, and with those beautiful powdery, cherry-like whiffs from I don't know what, you guys. But this is how the fragrance smells like to me. I have to say, it's that typical fragrance that anyone 15, 16 and above could wear something like this. It's that type of fragrance that you could easily purchase as a gift for someone dear in your life, be it your sister, your cousin, your wife, your sister-in-law, I don't know, anyone, your cousin, your friend, your coworker, I don't know, anyone. Again, 15, 16 and above to me. I couldn't put an age limit to this fragrance because I cannot say that it feels juvenile, because I don't really find it juvenile in a way, but it's that type of fragrance that's extremely easy to wear. It's likable enough to be pretty much liked by anyone and everyone, I feel like, but it still has something about it, so it doesn't feel like your boring generic release in a way. Yeah, and if I were to tell you the energy this fragrance gives me, you guys, to me this feels girly, feminine, soft, gentle. I don't know why this is the type of woman I would imagine would wear this fragrance. A very gentle woman, a very feminine woman. It's not really like Diwani Cairo, for instance, that has this playfulness about it, that has this almost like naughty, flirty quality because of the sweetness. To me, this is that gentle, warm, feminine woman, but it's a very beautiful fragrance, you guys. Of course, for someone who has a taste. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Also, thank you so much to the team from Dubai Collection for sending me these fragrances. I have to say, you guys, I am just starting to get familiar with Fragrance World, French Avenue, but French Avenue, kudos to you, Royal Blend Nero, this collection in particular. These are amazing fragrances, you guys, that smell so expensive, and they are not. Like, they are within the affordability, let's just say, range. Of course, they are not as affordable as some of the other fragrances, but you have to take into account the beautiful presentation, like how smooth the scents of them are. Yeah, really surprised by this collection, by the Royal Blend collection. The Diwani collection is there. I'm not going to bring it right now. I'm surprised with that one as well, but I can say that I have found a fragrance that I have really clicked with in that collection, you know what I mean? But from this collection I found the lashes that I love. From the other collection I found Royal Blend that became like my easy rich grab and go day-to-day fragrance. I love that fragrance. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Let me close off the video. I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to check out Dubai Collection if you want to shop samples and decants of these fragrances and full bottles, you guys, for amazing prices. Yeah, make sure to check them out. I will leave all the details in the description box. Like I've mentioned, even though the fragrances were sent to me, but they were sent to me for reviewing purposes, the videos are not sponsored. So yes, let me just close out the video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video, but until then, I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. Bye, guys.